Welcome back. We continue our conversation with Catherine McKenna. And Catherine, thanks for sticking around. We really appreciate it. And, we ended talking a little bit about the UN's net zero group. You discussed who makes up that group. One of the things that you concentrated on is this greenwashing. We've heard this, I think, probably for the last decade, if not more. Maybe you can explain a little bit more about greenwashing and what the group is doing to sort of counter that.
Look, I think there's a lot of focus on climate denial when you have groups, entities, people who say climate change, the climate isn't changing, or it's just natural. So you've got to fight that because we know the science is clear that man-made through actions of people, we're changing the climate and it's warming with very serious consequences. But another thing that is really fatal for climate action is greenwashing. And so that is companies, often you think about that, but it can be any, it could be a city, it could be anyone who's a government that says, yeah, you know what, we're doing all these awesome actions, but they actually don't amount to anything, or
Right.
maybe they hide you're even going in the wrong direction. And someone said this to me recently. They're like, I don't know, I saw net zero bacon. Like, is that a thing? Right. And so this is a problem, right?
Yeah.
If we can't actually be sure that what companies, for example, are saying that they're actually not going to get emission reductions, that's a huge problem. Because you're getting goodwill out of that, right? I think
Right.
most people care about doing right by the planet. And so they want to have, be supporting businesses or, investing their money with folks that care about the climate. But if it's not actually true, that's a massive problem. Because first of all, it makes us feel like we're doing things and doing good and we're not. But secondly, like these businesses can be making a lot of money and actually going in the wrong direction, which is obviously terrible for the planet.
Excellent points. You mentioned that we can do things as individuals. So what's some of your advice for our viewers at home that they can do?
So I know sometimes it can feel like, oh, it's too much. And of course, governments need to be doing things and holding companies accountable. But there's loads of things you can be doing. And so everything from turning down your thermostat. If every Canadian, were to turn down their thermostat by 1 degree, that would make a massive impact in the amount of energy we're using. Look, we have sustainable options to get around. We know that right now emissions for transportation are a huge part of Canada's emissions. So, what are your options? Walk or bike if you can, take public transit. Look at getting an electric vehicle. The prices are coming down, and there also are incentives from governments to reduce the price. Single-use plastics. I think we all know about this issue. I mean, it's quite disgusting. Not only are single-use plastics, there's a lot of emissions released when you make them. They also end up often in our lakes and our oceans. So really being thoughtful about single-use plastics. That's everything like, yes, don't use a straw or use a
Right.
paper straw if you need to using a reusable water bottle, but also looking at the stuff you buy in the store, the packaging. Choose options that have less packaging. And even here in Ottawa, we have stores like New Grocery where you can come in with your own containers and fill them up. Get your own peanut butter, get your own detergent there. So you aren't always using new plastic. But I think one of the most important things, and I'm not saying this, obviously, I was a liberal, but I think, your vote matters. Like
Yeah.
when you vote and go into an election, you should, if you care about climate change, you should look at the platforms of the different parties and decide who best represents the actions you want to see on climate. Because what we've seen is that, governments can just rip up actions that were already started, which were very hard to put in place.
Right.
And so I think that's really important. Like, your ballot really makes a big difference because you're electing a government potentially for 4 years, and they can do a lot of good in those 4 years, or they can take us back in time. And so I think vote with your ballot, get involved with political parties. It's also fun. I had amazing people from across actually the political spectrum, people who believed in me, who also believed in, the agenda of the government, who really wanted to see climate action. And it was quite fun. So I think that's also really important. You can't diminish how important democracy is. And I link the reality that we've seen some real threats to our democracy. I don't have to remind folks about the occupation of Ottawa not so
Yeah.
long ago.
Yeah.
That's related to climate action.
It is.
We
And
need democracy and we
even
need
at a
climate
more
action.
right, even at a more grassroots level, I mean, making sure you're a member of a political party. Thanks so much for joining us, Catherine.